right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. My name is John, and today we're going to talk about something interesting that I thought some people might need a little bit of help with. So today I reached Guru Alchemy, and it's not that it's really difficult, it's just very time consuming. So I wanted to tell people like how I went about the journey of going there and things you should make as well. So keep in mind, a lot of alchemy is very slow compared to cooking because you can't just mass cook it, or you can't like mass alchemy the same way you can do cooking. So it's very slow. That's like the hardest part of it. And so things you should make are a little bit different because when it comes to alchemy, it's not so much about making profit. It's more just making things you need in general. So I think overall, yes, there is profit as you get to the higher levels, but it's not like as much as you would doing other things. So step one, if you are a beginner in alchemy, how do you go about doing it? Before, I would have told you just buy those tool thingies off the market, like the non-supremes and the non-900 ones. So step one, you would start investing in a node down in Glish. It is, I believe, the one with Glish 3, the tool workshop, the one that has like 4 little icons on it. And that'll allow you to start making the advanced alchemy tools and the other one, but I would recommend doing the advanced ones. And you're going to need a lot of them because it's very expensive, so, and very time consuming. So as a beginner, there's a lot of stuff you should know, like one, how to organize your inventories and storages. So I personally did a lot of my stuff in Heidel, and with the whole Magnus thingy, if you haven't already done the quest line to have like the connected storages, that's really good. And there's this one cash shop item that I have. You don't need it. It's just, it saves a little bit of time. So once again, it's not required. We have the premium container. Basically, it's like the storage that you can put in your house and withdraw all of the things. And I guess now that the Magnus thingy is out and you could just withdraw from any of your towns, it's a little bit more helpful, but also at the same time, it's more just a nice quality of life. So I did everything in Heidel and Glish because there's a lot of stuff you're going to need. So as a beginner, the things I learned to make easily from like beginner to, I guess, professional or master are 2 easy things. So one, you're going to need a lot of clear liquid reagents, and to make that you're going to need purified water or distilled water. These are like basically the same thing, but just get whichever one is the easiest to get for you. And then sunrise herbs. If you guys have seen my node videos, there are some nodes that you can pick up that also give them, but realistically these are pretty cheap, to the point where if you see it on the market, it's very cheap to just buy. And so just get them off the market. That's one of those things. And then the next one is weeds or wild grass. I believe wild grass is actually cheaper than the weeds, but just get the one that is more available, because the goal ultimately is more to get your level up, not so much the profits part of it. The profits come in once you're at master and up. So ultimately, I think if you get to Guru, the reason why you want to do it is because of the Lightstone things or the Guru alchemy boxes, which I struggle to believe those are really profitable over cooking. But like at the same time, you have the option, which is always nice. And then there's a lot of materials like the salt one. So I'm just gonna, let me organize my storage a little bit and show you exactly what we need. So I'll put these here so you guys can see it. These things, one or the other, so the purified or distilled, you just need one of those. And then these 4 items. So the salt you can get off the market or just the NPC, and it's very cheap. So this one basically free. Purified water is one of those where I would recommend buying it off the market because it's like very time consuming. Sunrise herbs, you can get the node or just buy it because it's also very cheap. And the wild grass, if you like gathering, I have personally done it a little bit as well because my gathering is almost Guru 20. And so if you go to Bear and then you just go ham on the gathering there, and you can just get like basically everything. So that's one way you can get all of these. And then what it turns into is clear liquid reagents. So before we go any further, I want to show you like what kind of gear I use. Now, I didn't actually have perfect gear either, but I had decent enough ones where if you've done other life skills, you just use the same things. So obviously you want to go, well, eventually transition into full Manos. This is what I had. And then the artifacts I used, I didn't particularly have the best ones. I just wanted to power through it as fast as possible without spending too much money. So what I use is the double life XP ones with 4 Alchemy EXP ones, because honestly, the EXP is worth a lot to me. So I have these two going on. And you guys may be wondering, okay, so what kind of tool or like stone do I use? Now, there are 2 options. If you are a beginner, what I would recommend for all of you is the Spirit Stone, because it reduces the alchemy and cooking time, which is always good. And eventually, if you are like a higher tier life skiller, I guess, then you'd probably want to transition into like a sharp or something better like the Khan's Heart. But personally, if you've been playing for a while, you probably have the trance tier. And I personally use this one more because the life XP plus 30% is actually worth a lot to me. And if you're trying to get the levels up as fast as possible, XP is worth a little bit more than mastery, in my opinion, just because you're going to level it up. And the profits and mastery stuff come later, in my opinion. So I use that. And if you have the crystals, you could use the extra alchemy ones, like the, what is it? I forgot what they're called. The cheap crystals at the bottom. Yeah, these things. Dim magic crystal alchemy, just for the extra 6% if you can get them. Otherwise, no big deal. And of course, there are 2 options you guys can use. One being the Manos Alchemist Clothes. Now, the difference is you take off 5 seconds on alchemy time, but there's no bonus XP. Versus, do I have it? I think I have it. So this thing, the silver embroidered, one is obviously 5 billion and one is very cheap to get as well. But this one is minus 4 seconds with 20% XP. So depending on how many buffs you use, or if you value XP versus money, you could choose the options between those 2. I personally went with the mastery version just because it's actually 1 second less plus the mastery bonuses, which is nice for me as well. But if you want to just go as fast as possible, I think silver embroidered. And if you don't care about the profits or anything, then you can choose one or the other. So yeah, with that said, you start doing that. Making clear liquid reagents is not just an easy thing to make for everyone, but it's also something you're going to be using later on. So you're not just making it for the sake of making it. And there's this website that I use called BDO Codex. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys who have played this game for more than a few months probably have heard of it. So over there, it basically tells you like what you can make with alchemy and all the ingredients. It's a very helpful tool. I would recommend checking it out. But for the sake of this video, it's not just like what you can make. I'm just trying to tell you things that are easy and you probably have a lot of materials for. So how I went about doing it was a lot of bloods. So in my opinion, the entry level bloods you can collect are wolf blood, deer blood, fox blood, and rhinos if you do hunting as well. All of these, like, none of them are particularly hard. Some of them are just more out of the way than the others. So if you want to just sit near town, these are like the 4 easy ones. And if you want to go like out of your way and you kind of have to know rotations a little bit more, then you can find the more expensive bloods. So let's keep that in mind. There is no right or wrong answer on how you get to the level you want to be. So if you want to be like Guru 1 or your goal is Master, How you do it is there's no right or wrong answer. It's just if you want to go as fast as possible or the cheapest as possible, here's what I did. So once you get a lot of the clear liquid reagents, let's just say you have like 100 or 200,000 of them by this point, and then you're master 1 or you're in the master tier for alchemy, right? You want to convert to or switch over to making bloods. Like Clown's Bloods is very easy to make because you use that as well as the cheap bloods you make. And the reason why you're doing it is because they give more XP, which on the website BDO Codex that I used, it tells you how much XP per craft you have, so you can just look at it as well. So if you're just trying to power level through it, Clown's Blood is the way to go. Keep in mind, at least on the NA server, chances are if you make it, you're doing it for the XP, because they probably won't sell on the market. So let me just give you a quick rundown of like the Clown's Blood. Yeah, there's about 2.1 million of them just sitting, and chances are you're not selling it because everyone else is doing it. So it's not really a secret. This is what people are doing. So there are ways to actually use them in other recipes as well, which is kind of nice. But yeah, those are the two things I would say to do if you just want to go the easy route all the way to Guru. And so aside from that, what else would I make? So depending on where you are in the game, you probably have a lot of traces lined up along with a lot of fruits lined up. And so things you can also do along the way is you'll get a lot of oils from like the byproducts of just making things in general, right? So don't just sell them. These are actually useful for a lot of things like elixirs. So depending on where you are, once again, in the game, you might consider doing an elixir rotation for PvE, PvP. I have a video of that as well. So if you want to see what I used, you can do that. And just a little side rant. Most people will probably never have to use an elixir rotation in this game because 99% of the spots of grinding, you don't need it. So like just get the frenzy draft or the magical, like the bonus one, and then you'll be good. So I have an entire video of how to do that, like with the fairy setup and everything. But some of the higher tier XP elixirs that I've made over time are usually obviously like the ones that I think are worth making, like Grim Reapers or Corrupteds, and then I think there's a Draining one. Those are some that I think are like relatively easy to make, along with kind of valuable. So they give good XP. You're gonna need them eventually, maybe, and then if you don't need them, you can just sell them for either breaking even or profit. So with that said, that's what I did a lot of. So if you have a lot of traces right now, I would recommend not selling them. I know if you look at the price of a lot of them and you're just like, wow, that's a lot of silver and I can get it. If you're trying to power through alchemy, the fastest way as possible is honestly using a lot of the traces along with the fruits to get to that point. And trust me when I say that I know if you just sell these to the market, you can make a lot of silver, and you're gonna look at this like, oh wow, there's a reason why all of these are basically sold out with hundreds of thousands of orders on it. It's because people make elixirs a lot and they're valuable. So if you have yours, don't sell it, just make something, and then after you make the elixirs, then you can sell them or use them. So that's when the profit comes in. But it really depends on your server. There's no right or wrong answer. And after that, mostly the tips I can give you are find 2 storages that you can dump all this stuff in and figure it out. Also, if you look on the site and it's like, oh, okay, so there's a white quality versus a blue quality. I know these are 2 different items, by the way, but if it says like use 5 or 7, whatever, white tier ones, you could use 1 blue quality or like 3 or something of the green quality. You're gonna make sure to look that up first before you do anything. But usually the blue quality, you only need 1, and I think you're going to be losing money on that. But for example, let's look at the mushrooms. So if you look at this, you see how the white qualities are basically sold out with hundreds of thousands of orders. That's because, like, if you're doing it for profit, the white quality ones are the best way, whereas the blue quality ones you can buy, but you're kind of like losing money. So if you like, it sound like, oh, it's only like 15,000 per craft, but that kind of adds up if you have to do like literally hours worth of alchemy. And I think if you calculate it, from beginner 1 to like master is like less than 20 hours, whereas master 1 to guru 1 is like 60 hours or something, depending on what you make, of course. But generally, you will run out of a certain material, and that will be the bottleneck. So I think for a veteran player who has like life skill gear, it took me like 50 hours from master 1 to guru, but at the same time, like, I kind of knew what I was doing, but as a completely new beginner, it might take you a lot longer. So that's why I'm here, giving you guys tips on easy things to make. Let's see, what else? What are some other easy things that people make? Let's see, where is it? Pure powder reagents. This is also a pretty popular thing that you'll be making as well, and is used in a lot of entry level to intermediate level items. And so if you don't know, you can always just go to the tool and then obviously look it up. So pure powder reagents, they'll give you like all of this. And so you know how we were talking about like the wild grass and then silver azalea purified water? Yeah, that's why you kind of need a lot of them. And then the sugar you could just buy off the market. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is things you're going to have to start using. I know people have years of workers just dumping random garbage in your inventory or storages. Now is the time to use them. And overall, just find out what you have a lot of materials for, and then figure out what things might sell on the market. And just to give you like an idea, this isn't like a I should do this exclusively, but if you look at the market, try to find out what are the more expensive ones or ones that don't have a lot of orders on it, and then try to make those. So for example, if you ever plan on actually using them, just make sure to watch my Elixir video, because some of them are very expensive and chances are you're not going to be able to buy them. So just look at the market. Which items do you think you can profit off of, and or just power level? And so yeah, overall, what else would I say are important things to do? Just yeah, bloods are important, traces, fruits are important, and then I guess everything else that you think might be very useful. But yeah, a lot of gathering with the hoe, and then mushrooms. So if you have everything and you've been hoarding for years, chances are you could power level yourself pretty quickly. And if not, then it's going to be a slow grind, or you could just buy everything off the market. But with that said, hopefully you guys learned something, and make sure to get a lot of tools because you're going to be preparing them. And before we head out, I just want to show you something real quick. So if you're wondering how you get a lot of tools, if you've done Imperial Alchemy before, you could turn in 100 of the seals to get a Supreme tool. And a Supreme tool is the one that has 5,000 crafts. So basically you set your thing and then go AFK for about like an hour or two, and then come back, and then that's done. And if you don't have that, what I would do is go to Glish or something, go to Glish 3, make sure to get the Tool Workshop 4, and then start making advanced tools, which is polished stones, scantlings. So basically mining rough stone, wood, and then melted iron shards and blackstone powders. You probably have a lot of those already. And just basically stock up on those as well. So yeah, you're going to need a lot of advanced and supreme tools. Trust me on that. It's very slow compared to cooking. And if you another few tips, I know this isn't really one that I recommend, but with loyalties, there's an option to get the advanced alchemy tools with 300 loyalties, and you could do 3 a month, which is actually nothing because you go through an advanced tool in like 20 minutes and you can only buy 3 a month. So that's 3 extras technically you can get, but realistically you're gonna have to make a lot of this yourself. So let me show you something real quick before we head out. If you're looking for rough stone, we all know the best place to get it is Pilgrim's Haven down here with the pickaxe. There's a lot of rocks down here. This is probably arguably the best place to get it. Chopping trees is literally anywhere on the map with trees, and I would say bear is probably the most amount of trees. I know some people chop around ash forest because it's like it's kind of out of the way, but no one's ever there, and there's just a lot of them. So like around here-ish, I know a lot of people do that. And then you should probably have all the nodes going on for iron ore and everything. So that's something you should probably have just going on in general. And yeah, good luck power leveling your alchemy to guru. And hopefully you guys can get it in the best way possible. And also, make sure to just start elixir crafting early on for yourself as well. Even if you don't think you need it, you might need it one day, and it's always just good to have now, and you never know when you're going to need it. So you could also use these, the green tier ones, for Imperial Alchemy, and then get more of the Supreme tools if you need it as well. So that's what I did. If you have any questions as well, feel free to ask. If you have any tips for other new people, feel free to leave it in the comments as well. And with that said, I'm out. Thanks so much for watching.